Hi, my name's Matthew, and this is another review. Today we will be reviewing the new Skrude EP that's just been released on Disciple Roundtable maybe a week ago. Last November, we were hit with Locust by Skrude, and I really enjoyed that song. It's just a massive pity that we don't get any Skrude elements in this EP apart from the VIP of it. Anyway, let's get into it. The first track, Parasomnia, it's got a really nice intro and melody in the intro. It's a pretty good build-up, not bad percussion. In the drop I find the sound design very grating and hard to listen to. I also don't really think that the drop fits that well with the overall track. I love the empty space play in the second half. And the sustain bass doesn't really do it for me. It could have been better and less grating on the ears. I much prefer the second drop to the first. It's much better. The quite long fake out is really nice, in my opinion. There's a more enjoyable and less grating sustain bass in the second drop. And in the EP as a whole, the sound design can be very grating at times. That's the main problem with the EP. The second track is the title track, Hadean. There's a very deep but very subtle bass in the intro that I love. And if I had to describe the drop in one word, it would be sandpaper. Those who have listened to the song will probably know what I'm on about. The drop itself is quite jarring a bit, but I found it quite enjoyable in its entirety. This is probably one of the only tracks where the sound design really stands out to me. I think it sounds really good. I like the sort of fake-outy bit on the second drop, but the second drop itself, though there is some subtle changes, is very similar to the first. But the way he goes from the drop into the build-off does not sit well with me. Feels like he didn't know what to put there. But I'm very, very torn on the third drop. I kind of feel like the two sounds that merge don't work together, and it sounds like Skrude just crammed them in there because he needed something to fit. The third track on this EP was Horns. I really like the intro and build-up on this track. I think he's worked really hard on them. But I'm very torn on the drops though. I feel like it's kind of melodic but kind of heavy, and I don't really know what he was going for. The second drop is much better, more melodic, and I really like it, and I think it's the type of drop that really resonates with me. The build-off is slightly different from the intro, but it's still really cool. I don't mind the fake-out on the third drop, but it's the empty space play that really does it for me. You can easily mess up empty space, but hey, he's got it quite good. The second half of the third drop is just basically the same as the first drop, and I found that a bit lazy, but still not a bad track. The fourth track in this EP was the Locust VIP. The intro is basically the same as the original. I really don't like the way that the fake out goes after the sample. I find it a bit forced just for the sake of making it different than the original. I think the initial bass hit of the drop is really lacking the impact that it needs to have to get me hyped up. I also think that the vocal samples that are used in the drop do not quite fit. The drop is kinda vibey, but I do prefer the original one's flow. The second drop is very similar, but with more of the original sound design sprinkled in there. Overall, I think that this VIP is worse than the original track because I think that the samples and build-up were meant for a heavy drop, and this wasn't heavy. The last track in this EP was Variables. I loved the slight pan-like snare used in the intro. I think it really adds a dark atmosphere. I also like the build-up. The drop is probably my least favourite from the EP. Very messy and grating, and I don't like the flow that it's taking. The second half of the drop is a bit better, being a lot more crazy and sporadic, but I think that he could have done a little bit better. I don't mind the fake out that comes with the second drop. It's not bad, but in the second quarter of the second drop, there's a bit of sound design that really sounds like Angel Style by Sudden Death and Somnium Sound. I don't know if other people can hear it, but for me it's quite prominent. Second half of the drop, is just the first drop again, and that's really it. The conclusion, didn't really like this EP, thought that we were going to get some Locust-like sound design, but I was very disappointed when we didn't. Overall, there were some tracks that saved the EP, but 5.5 out of 10. This was my review of Skrude's Hadean EP, and if you liked it, like the video, and if you want to see more of this content, I post daily, so subscribe. Thanks, bye.